Welcome to our series of supercomputing webinars. I'm sure, like us, COVID-19 has led to the cancellation of some, if not all, of the trade shows you've attended in 2020. Following on to the success of our HPC Roadshow livestream in September, we're launching a series of supercomputing themed webinars, and over the coming weeks, we'll be sharing some great content from leading industry vendors such as Supermicro, who join us today. Before I jump in, I wanted to briefly cover who Boston are, in case you're not already familiar with us. Boston Limited has been providing cutting-edge technology since 1992 using Supermicro building blocks. Our high-performance, mission-critical server and storage solutions can be tailored for each specific client, helping customers to create their ideal solution. Boston are a global company with offices across EMEA, India, the USA, and Australia. Boston offers a number of important benefits to our customers, including end-to-end support from rack scale design to networking cabling and installation from the edge to the data center. We assist our customers in finding the perfect solution by testing solution configurations in Boston's research and development facilities called Boston Labs. And you can leverage Boston's expertise and extensive consultancy services to solve your time-sensitive issues and ensure workloads run optimally across all your systems. And finally, we'll help you to scale quickly with workload optimized solutions. As with all our presentations, we'll be undertaking a Q&A at the end of this session. So if you have something you'd like to ask our presenter today, please click on the question mark icon in the Teams app and type it in. Time permitting, we'll answer as many of these as we can during the event. So let's get things started. I'm going to hand over to our presenters for today, Jeff Sharpe and Carlo Daffara, along with a live Q&A session from Mark Maltby at Supermicro.
Thank you, Carlo, for being part of this presentation and talking a little bit about retail. And by the way, in the edge world or the IoT space, retail is only one of different market verticals that both NodeWeaver and Supermicro is heavily involved in. Retail is a great one just kind of because of the world that we're living in now with the pandemic, with a little bit of social unrest, a lot of the things that are happening. The world is kind of turned upside down on how we're buying things face to face, how we're going to the stores, our interaction with people. So these are some really horrible times, but they're also times in which really promotes a different level of technology, not just in retail space, but in other areas such as restaurants, fast food, areas of convenience stores, grocery stores, shopping centers, online shopping. Those type of things have really kind of changed the way that our behaviors are doing. So around COVID-19, there's a lot of areas that are impacting the retail and restaurant fast food environments. One is, we're all kind of staying at home more and more. We're ordering more through, the internet, where we're not going to the brick and mortar stores as we normally did. We're not socially interacting in bars and restaurants and whatnot. And as a matter of fact, that's impacting a lot of different revenue streams for the mom and pops, the smaller stores, and also even the big box stores. You're hearing a lot of Chapter 11 cases and large shopping center feeders, even some smaller convenience stores environment where people are just not going out and buying stuff. Now, we realize that's not going to happen long term. Hopefully this pandemic is going to start ramping down this year, but we definitely see a big impact. Supply chain is also disrupted. If you think about manufacturing, as people are staying more and more at home, the logistics, people are not traveling and shipping stuff as much. So the store shelves are fairly empty. A lot of the custom stuff is empty. So it's very constrained on how the suppliers are delivering product to that store and then ultimately to the end user. And then, of course, shopper behavior. Here in the U.S. market, you're fairly limited on how many people can enter a store. People are wearing face masks. Even how I'm getting stuff into my cart and checking out using of cash or the non-use of cash. So all your point of sale systems are changing, and how I'm interacting with the limited staff that either I'm talking to. Restaurants, fast food, I can't even go into these stores. I have to do everything outside. So yeah, there is a lot of issues around that. And of course, health and safety, making sure that the customers feel safe in this environment, and also protecting the workers as well, the staff that is delivering these products to that individual. And as we progress through time, and especially now, we know and we realize that this is kind of the new way of doing business. So there will be regulatory and compliance areas, not just during the pandemic, but also as a structured unit going forward. So with all of that said, the world that we're living in now is going to have to change. It's going to have to be a little bit more intelligent, a little bit more technology is going to have to move forward within this retail space. So if you think of going into a retail store or a fast food, typically I go in, I look at the thing that I'm looking for, I either pick it off the shelf or order it. I then go to a checkout, I give them cash or my credit card, I put it in a box, they put it in a box, and then I work out. Well, with this crisis that we're in, a lot of those challenges are there. So the way that interacting within the store has changed dramatically. How I'm actually going through and shopping has changed quite a bit. Even going in with into restaurants and how I order and all that, the amount of interaction is being less and less. As a matter of fact, things like online ordering before I show up, or DoorDash type applications and when it's delivered. So there's a lot of older reliance on human technology and human interaction environments. And then how do we change that? How do we actually become more and more less, keep that human element in there, but become more intelligent in needs on how I process orders and how I process when I go in and buy something and I take it out. Also in environments as things start taking place once we get out of this pandemic, things like space constrained environments and running out of physical space as I build out my portfolio. How do I ensure that my inventory is on track? I have 24/7 type of inventory control. How many of us have gone to a big box, home improvement store looking for something and they're constantly out of something I'm looking for? So ensuring that our quality of experience within those stores are there. And then also the other big part is how do I improve that quality of experience? How do I make sure that, maybe I can order something online, but physically pick it up at the store, but knowing that, maybe this shirt could be a different size that I may actually have. I usually wear a medium, but maybe this shirt size come in a large. So I order online, I go physically to the store to pick it up, and maybe that store has 3 or 4 sizes that I can try on. So just adding a little bit more intelligent and future-proofing some of the how I actually purchase the product. And then, if you think about our typical interaction within stores, restaurants, and fast foods, think about the things that happen today and how we can improve those environments, and putting those environments more on compute and intelligent-based platforms. So as I come into a store, think about it. So the store has its own value of, the people that are coming in, how many people are coming in, what time of day are those people coming in, what's their foot traffic within the store, what items are they most interested in my store, how can I arrange those items to be better visible for those customers, those high volume items. How do I ensure that those customers feel safe within an environment? So how can I protect them? Here in the United States, there's horrible cases in which there's shootings and things and robberies within the stores. How do I actually protect the user? Can I actually listen to a gunshot and do something about it intelligently without human interaction? Ease of entry. So maybe stores become more autonomous in nature, where I'm actually going in, purchasing items, and walking out without any human interaction whatsoever. maybe even to the case where I don't even, show my credit card. I'm pre-authorized to go into the store. They already have my credit card information. And I go in, pick up my items. It recognizes the items that I'm picking up. And as I'm walking out, it charges that. But also with that autonomous store, you also have theft. And, there's always going to be some theft. There's always going to be someone that's going to put it in their back pocket or purse. You're never going to get away from that. So how can I ensure I can manage theft and I can manage fraud and those type of items, really kind of using AI type of environments. But it's really all about two things. One is increasing my revenue streams, and also how do I, not just increase my revenue streams, but how can I improve my quality of experience to my customers? How can I be competitive to everyone else that could be selling this cheeseburger or this dress or even the saddle for my horse? How can I actually be competitive in this nature using more intelligent technologies than just that human interaction, having a great sales team? And not to mention within the store environment, how do I continue to improve my sales process? How do I can improve my delivery mechanisms? Fast food restaurants, if I have a drive-through service and my customers are coming in and they're talking on a speaker and I can't hear what they're saying, there's background noise, or the person that's taking the order inside the fast food restaurant is not keeping up in time. So how can I make that more intelligent, and how can I make that experience better for that end user? And not to mention, how can I also upsell additional items during that sales process? So kind of think of that in the back of your mind as we go through some additional use cases. So as we go into more of an intelligent, artificial intelligent environment, meaning that there's less human involvement. I call this a hybrid effect, where you do have humans, but you also have more intelligent compute infrastructure. Think of the different patterns of artificial intelligence. You have recognition, so understanding, is this a certain person? Is this a certain product? How many of that product? What's the quality of that product? Conversation, how do I make things like an Alexa type of environment where I'm engaging to someone that sounds like a real person, but in fact it's a computer. So I'm doing voice recognition, voice analysis, and doing compute power in the back to actually take an order. Predictive analytics. How can I ensure, again, like I said earlier, is how do I make sure my inventory is ready for all of these customers coming in? How do I predict the amount of inventory that I need to have at a certain time period to ensure my stock, my shelves are full? And also what stuff is not selling as much, and do that in a real-time manner, not on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, but really do it in a real-time nature. Also, as we're engaging a lot of our different customers in this space, what are the goal-driven? What actually is the top 2 or 3 priorities that these customers need? Is it quality of experience? Is it reduction of manpower or overhead costs? Is it the better ability to have a hybrid environment of order taking on remote versus on-site? How do I actually do it? So a lot of these goal-driven systems using common workflows are critical. How do I do more things autonomously? How do I give more power to my customer to come into the store, walk away with products with as least amount of speed bumps, as I call it, as possible? Go in, get what I need, come out, and do it as quickly as possible. And then what are those patterns? What are the things that are happening in the environment during a typical sale or during a typical exchange? And what are those patterns, and what are the anomalies of those patterns that I can track and emulate and test and build as I grow my business? And then personalization. How do I make things more personal? I could have kiosk systems that are specific to my app on my phone that recognizes me and shows me some specials that I'm having or coupons that I can do. Kiosk machines that I can actually be more personalized. Even drive-through services. Can I do things online before I actually come up to that store or that restaurant or that fast food that actually enables that food to be ready for me to either take home or experience on the curb. So all kind of really, really cool things. But all of these need compute power. They need different types of systems, heterogeneous, which means it could be x86 Intel, it could include GPU technologies, OpenVINO, intelligent architectures, even hardware acceleration, especially if I'm getting into a wireless or 5G environment. Having the ability to inference and train, and also do it at the edge. And this is where some of our key leading strengths between us and NodeWeaver and, of course, NetFoundry is that these systems are really focused not in a cloud somewhere, but really at the store itself, at that physical edge where I need a lot of processing. It's at the edge. It has to be up all the time. I don't want these systems to go down because it's revenue generating, and it has to be built as kind of like a carrier grade system. And then the other approach that we're doing, again, is having a common workflow system, meaning that if I have input coming in and I want to do some type of intelligence with a needed output, we can set up a common workflow that enables that architecture, whether it's dropping food on the floor in the back room of the chef or recognizing a shirt size that I'm actually ordering. That common workflow can be the same in these heterogeneous systems. So kind of get the blood flowing a little bit on different use cases. So in a retail environment, especially for AI inference and learning techniques, think about your human interaction within restaurants and retail spaces. So a good example is how can I put intelligence into the central kitchen for the control and healthiness of food, ensuring that the safety of our clients and our people that are coming into our restaurant is not going to get sick for maybe mishandling of food or the preparation of food. So we can use AI and computer vision techniques to ensure that the food is prepared properly. If I drop something on the floor, unfortunately in restaurants, there's not a 3-second rule like we may have in our house, where I can pick it up and throw it back on the plate. That's not really a quality food prep within a kitchen environment. So how can I improve that? Also looking at safety of workers, if there's fires, there's boiling water, there's things that's happening in the background that worker may not be aware of. They can actually have some type of alarming system real time using AI and computer vision to do that. Also in smart checkout. So, a lot of times now in grocery stores and other areas, we have the ability to pick our items up, self-bag it, self-checkout, put our credit card in, our cash, and then walk away. So those are becoming more relevant, not just in, grocery stores and hardware stores and whatnot, but it's becoming more and more relevant all over, especially in convenience stores, gas stations, areas where they may not even want a client within, not a client, but a manager or a worker in that store. It could be 100% autonomous. And think about another use case of smart checkout. If I take a tray of food, maybe in a cafeteria environment or a restaurant, and I scan that food under a computer vision type camera system using artificial intelligence, it can do two things. I'm not having to enter, this is a pasta dish with, sausage versus chicken. There's a salad, there's an apple, there's iced tea here. If I scan that under a smart, intelligent camera system, it'll acknowledge that. It'll also see the portion size. And by the way, I can also increase my quality of experience with a customer by offering applications that can take the nutritional value of what I just checked out and make that as part of my daily intake for, carbohydrates, sugar, protein, all of that stuff that I can track it in a real-time manner. And think about the upsell of those things that could happen. Traffic analysis, meaning that how do I look at my individual foot traffic within my store? How do I look at the interaction of the salespeople or guides within the store with customers? AI voice interaction, going through a drive-through, can I talk to an intelligent system instead of a human? And that intelligent system can take my order while the human element is doing what they do best, which is the prep and the management of the delivery of that, not the order taking. So if I can remove some of that overhead, I can focus most of my energy on the quality of the food prep and the material prep that I'm doing to give that customer. So using voice interaction services into that. Robotic inventory management's another big one, in which you could have robotics within your store that's going up and down the aisles 24/7, or in certain areas. We are a key supplier in that environment that goes around and looks at the different inventory on the shelves and actually uplink the amount of boxes that are needed or shelf items to be replaced. It also prints out barcodes. So again, it's doing 24/7 real-time inventory management. And then instead of, going in and doing everything, putting things in a cart and then at the end taking it out of that cart and scanning it, why not do that as I'm putting it into the cart? So cart systems are becoming more intelligent for point-of-sale systems. So as I'm taking things off the shelf, it'll scan it as I put it in the cart, and I can take that cart directly to my car without going through a checkout system at the end, which there could be lines, there could be human interaction, there could be COVID stuff that's going on and all that process. So some really cool, and these are only a few of the type of use cases that we're working with different retail and convenience stores and grocery stores. But we're also working with another company called SAS. It's a great analytical company, probably one of the world's best analytical companies that are providing analytics for connected retail, meaning that, again, it's that customer engagement process. It's how do I make my customer improvement better, really through analytics. And expanding that into things like augmented reality, as we move forward in life, we could have connected gear through our goggles that I could look at things on the shelves and automatically know the price. If I'm looking in a grocery store, having this on augmented glasses, or even in an augmented type of smartphone or device, I can look at different elements and instantly get the nutritional information or the product information, where it was built, is it handmade, the price, any coupons that are needed. So working with SAS is ultimately a great area to combine that artificial intelligent environment at the edge, doing analytics both from a store perspective and also a customer perspective as well, and ensuring that operation, that inventory management and all that is being done in a way that satisfies that end needs. So if you think of Supermicro, Supermicro's DNA is really in, the best platforms from a hardware base in the market today. So we're, in the top 3 of the best delivery mechanisms for hardware, both in the cloud environment, enterprise databases, public cloud environments, and private. Over the past few years, however, we've done a lot of investments at the edge, and the edge could be in that retail space, in that customer premise. It could actually be in the service providers arena, where service providers are using wireless-based technology or wireline-based technologies, high-speed wireline, to connect, more micro data centers to that store in a regional environment, maybe a 5G, having a computer on the pole that's delivering services, all of these types of services in a small neighborhood, 5-block radius, 2-block radius. We can also put these in micro data centers as well. That's very located close or near where these stores are. And then, of course, having in the cloud environment, because you have to do training. There are aspects of your point-of-sale system that needs to go and validate credit cards and all that. So a lot of our hardware can, again, be from that edge to cloud. And, if you've read us in the news over the past few months, you've noticed that we're expanding not just our hardware and base-level software infrastructure support, but we're also doing middleware applications. And these middleware applications, we're selecting some of the best companies out there, like NodeWeaver, that enables these edge systems to be self-healing, self-managing, controlling the virtual machines and containers that are running these AI-based applications, self-checkout, the autonomous stores, the robotic gear that's doing my inventory. They're kind of managing that environment from a middleware perspective, because, again, you're fast food restaurant, you don't need an IT professional, supporting that computer there. You can manage that remotely, and you can also manage that from that middleware software. And then on top of that, of course, is your AI functionality. These are your learning and your inferencing techniques, and we have a broad library and a broad infrastructure of partners that can supply and help those companies develop these type of technologies. And then, of course, you need security. You need to have the ability in this distributed mode. Maybe I have 500 grocery stores that are going to, do all of these great technologies, or I have thousands of convenience stores or thousands of fast food restaurants that I want to be able to set up, but also do it securely. And so for that point-to-point, from that edge to cloud or that edge to edge, we want to have the ability to make sure that that is in a zero-trust network, that no one can break in and look at how I can gain information, especially in this world that we live in, ensuring that it's private data, that it's secure. So we've selected NetFoundry as a critical partner to set up that type of environment for SDN WAN type technologies and secure-based technologies. So with that said, I'm going to invite Carlo, who's the CEO of NodeWeaver. Great guy. He's actually going to show a demo of that middleware system that I talked about on how we manage these edge devices in this environment. So Carlo, I'll turn it over to you.
So many thanks. My name is Carlo Daffara. I am the CEO of NodeWeaver, and I have been the inner architect of the platform more than 9 years ago. NodeWeaver is at its heart a universal layer for running applications by creating very small nanoclouds out of existing hardware. It brings the same flexibility, ease of management, and power of large cloud providers like Amazon or Azure, but allows for the execution of any kind of workload on local hardware without the need for fast connectivity or external services. It allows the processing of large amounts of data, like the one created by video cameras, and complex processing for point-of-sale applications, security, automated checkouts, locally in an efficient and autonomous way, as it was presented just a few seconds ago. NodeWeaver runs on bare metal. On very small hardware devices, NodeWeaver is extremely efficient and can run in very limited hardware up to very large physical nodes. It runs in the hardware which is placed in your stores. So it runs locally, it runs there, transforming that hardware in a very small cloud environment that can be controlled through a simple web browser or through APIs or management systems like Ansible or Terraform. This universal management layer allows to reach any nanocloud in any location from anywhere in the world, without the need for creating VPNs or rather a remote access mechanism. Just as an example, I'm not connected from the northeast of Italy, and I'm controlling a remote cluster that sits in our Florida lab without any special configuration or client, which is not necessary. NodeWeaver turns any hardware system into a private edge cloud, starting from a single node, from a single physical node. These nodes can be all different, with different size and processors, and NodeWeaver will automatically load balance work across them without requiring any user intervention. This ability to use a heterogeneous hardware means that you don't need to keep spare hardware systems in the event of a failure. You have not to keep exactly the same model for a long period of time. You can have any system at any time, whatever hardware platform is available, whenever it is needed. NodeWeaver will automatically scale. It will remove any component that doesn't work anymore. It will add the new resources and will make them available immediately without requiring any user intervention. You just need to physically connect it to your in-store network. The same if something happens, like a hardware, a software failure, or a workload, or an application that suddenly needs more resources to perform its task. The system will continue to operate, and it will automatically recover and rebalance itself. This means that anything that runs on top of NodeWeaver is automatically granted the ability to run in high availability, even traditional or legacy systems and does this on any hardware platform. We also take advantage of the latest hardware like GPUs, FPGAs, deep learning accelerator, and we make them available for any modern deep learning or AI application. At the core of NodeWeaver is a special layer which is called a distributed file system. It's a software layer that basically takes care of all the data that comes into the system. It divides it into very small data blocks called chunks, and it will replicate them and disperse them across all the storage available within your NanoCloud. This means that disk failures are handled automatically. Even data corruption is impossible because we check every data block with a special mathematical device called the CRC without the need for spatial RAID devices or any additional hardware. It runs even on the smallest hardware physical devices. We can also take advantage of multiple disk technologies like NVMe for latency sensitive application or rotational disk for login or archival. We can use the best media for the application, and we can do that in an automated way. The same technology is used for snapshots, backups, or disaster recovery across clouds, or integrated within the platform. It comes within every single NanoCloud. Exactly like we do it for storage, we provide a complete cloud-like environment for the network layer as well, which is capable of integrating multiple applications in a totally secure way across different technologies, across 1 gigabit networks, 10 gigabit network, whatever combination that you have, it will make it work. What kind of application we can run? We can run absolutely anything. Thanks to the internal support for multiple hypervisors, we can run both legacy VMs like Windows, which is very commonly used still in point of sale and in-store systems, to Linux VMs, to containers, Kubernetes application, and serverless application. Similar to what Amazon uses in their Firecracker system, we have implemented a special hardware-assisted engine that runs containers and Kubernetes application in a protected layer, so it's very secure while running at bare metal speeds. We can integrate virtual disks and container images, including support for things like quality of service to guarantee the necessary speed for applications. So, if, for example, you can say that you want to reserve 2,000 I/O operation per second for the specific disk to make sure that others will not be able to take more than their share. And we can also customize the application that run on NodeWeaver without requiring complex programming. By asking the user for anything, like a password or a variable when the application starts. And we customize it through a powerful scripting engine that runs inside of NodeWeaver. Like in this case, we convert a plain vanilla Linux distribution, and we install, customize, we create a user-specific MySQL database at boot, and we even ask for the password when it starts. So it's designed to help in automating things at scale without having to modify the inside of the application. But modern retail requires a multitude of applications, not a single one, sometimes by different providers, and it needs all of this to be all interconnected. NodeWeaver allows to weave applications together in the form of services. And this is an example of that. We chain together multiple applications. We have an in-store firewall. We have a zero trust network appliance, authentication and authorization. We have the point of sale, and so on. Not only this allows to start everything from with a single button, it also automatically recovers any application that fails, and also allows for auto-scaling up and down. For example, it increases the number of database containers if your point of sale system is overloaded, or the number of open queues in a store is increased, or simply if the CPU utilization is too high. It allows to take advantage of all the hardware resources in an automated way without having someone who would go there and check if this is going too slow, this needs to be improved, and so on. The key concept is that when you have many locations, it is not feasible to manually inspect each system to identify critical conditions. The system needs to be able to handle anything on its own without waiting for a technician or an expert while your customers wait for the services to be operational again. We can run a point of sale as just presented. You can run a deep learning system like this one, which counts people in a queue, or automated price prevention, in-store security, social distancing, basically anything that takes advantage of the local deep learning hardware. That's not all. We provide a mechanism for efficient distribution of your application, because when you have hundreds of locations, it's basically not feasible to have simply someone that goes location by location to run and download the applications that you need. We do this through a spatial system called a marketplace, which is embedded in NodeWeaver that allows to download and run any application with a single click. For example, we can run the NetFoundry application with a single click here. Everything is handled by the platform. It will download the images, it will create a virtual network, it will create everything about your application. But you can also create your own marketplace, which is entirely private. It runs in your own infrastructure. It's basically a web server, and it is designed to deliver your application. You can even have multiple marketplaces, including geographical ones, to distribute different applications in different countries. All this is like a cloud environment. It's multi-tenant with a complete security layer that allows for quotas and access control on a global scale, which is necessary when you have multiple users and multiple operators that work on this. Imagine the fact that, for example, you have a company which is responsible for managing your virtual point of sale, one company which is responsible for the deep learning applications and so on. You need to shield them, to prepare and to control what they do, and we provide a very fine-grained mechanism to make sure that everything remains secure, again, without having to check everything moment by moment. All this with global visibility and control on all deployments. Creating a new site is automated. You just attach your node to the network and power it on. During first time boot, it will automatically find the other nodes. It will get its configuration, and it will basically configure itself. There's no need for keyboard or monitor. You just connect the system to the installed network. You power up, wait a few minutes, and you will hear a happy tune that will inform you that the system worked properly and it's ready to run your application. If you need to expand it, you just add another node and the system will find automatically what to do. NodeWeaver is designed to run any application anywhere without the need for user intervention. By running on Supermicro, we also get the other benefit of a rock-solid platform, which is flexible and which does have multiple hardware configuration for any user needed scale. So it's perfectly adapted to our, let's say, elastic approach. Jeff, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Carlo. That was awesome. One thing I wanted to quickly note on what Carlo was talking about was the ability to set up your own libraries or your own environment for applications. So whether I'm a grocery store that needs POS systems, self-checkout needs, fraud and detection, surveillance services, and all that, you can pick and choose what type of application will be running on this middleware specifically for that grocery store. If you're a large conglomerate, let's use the Ferretti Group as an example that owns a tremendous amount of restaurants and casinos and hospitality, which includes hotels. They can use this type of infrastructure as a common element in all of those different types of use cases, whether it is a restaurant, Landry's, or it could be, a casino, how I'm actually doing surveillance. It could be, a hotel and how I'm looking at surveillance there at the front desk. All of those could be done on this common platform with the same hardware, with the same elements, and also with NodeWeaver and NetFoundry on top. So kind of digging a little bit deeper into the overall architecture. So Supermicro offers a very wide range of breadth and depth of systems, from small fanless boxes all the way to rack and stack and server environments, frame level environments in back rooms or in data centers. What we've done is we've selected kind of a T-search size environment, small, medium, large, extra large, depending on what that workload need is. So again, we have that depth and breadth of hardware from customer premise all the way to the data center, that edge to cloud. We also implement these heterogeneous systems that supplies a different mix of silicon. It supplies a different mix of type of AI-based technology, whether it's an NVIDIA-based system or an OpenVINO-based system, or even another third party that you want to look at, like a Blaze or another type of GPU-based architecture. We enable those architectures from a hardware standpoint, realizing that the customer needs could be from a brownfield environment that they want to make it more intelligent, or a brand new greenfield environment, which is brand new. We have those various options. And then with NodeWeaver itself, NodeWeaver has the ability, again, to orchestrate, to manage those applications that are living on top. It has the ability to run that management system, that man machine, how to configure it and manage it. It's very simple. One thing that seems to be resonating with existing and new customers is the simplicity of the software and hardware combination. The simplicity of not having to reinvent the wheel, a million times over and over again, but using these common platforms to build up. And then, of course, on the NetFoundry side, again, it's enabling that zero trust environment. How do I connect that edge to the cloud, and how I do that in a very secure manner. So with that said, the key value statement, value proposition that all three companies are providing is, again, that breadth and depth of product, the ability to take common building block hardware architectures and build that on systems that will be placed in freezer boxes or in backroom systems or in a compute environment that is environmentally controlled, or maybe even outside. Maybe it's in the logistics area of where trucks come in. So we have that wide range of hardware products, but again, powered by NodeWeaver, enabling that middleware running multiple workloads, either a VM or a container, autonomous, self-healing, self-managing, very, very low touch. How do I ramp up a virtual machine when it's needed, and how do I ramp it back down, or a container? Power management, right? Ensuring that I'm not drawing a tremendous amount of power, and also doing more and more workloads on one system versus having a whole room full of systems, and then doing that in a zero trust network with NetApp. And again, we have entry-level mainstream systems, rack mount systems, high performance, and even systems you can mount on the wall or put outside or put in extremely high environment places. So to kind of wrap things up a little bit, so why are we moving to this spot? So number one, why, from in retail, which is just one of many market verticals, we have the ability from a Supermicro, a wide range of hardware-based products, fanless, fans, small, medium, large, those type of technologies. Next generation applications running on a middleware system that's easy to manage, easy to load. Anyone could really do it. Hey, if I could load that on one of the systems by myself, anybody can do it, believe me. Multiple workloads, high-end workloads that are doing inferencing, doing training, all the way down to simple point A to point B communications. And then very secure networking. This enables, again, that secure environment that I'm not going to lose my customer's trust because I've been broken into. Having that communications channel between point A and point B is critical in that zero trust network. And oh, by the way, NetFoundry also enables, if there's a low connectivity, small, maybe a satellite uplink that has low speeds, maybe 1 to 2 meg, they have policy management that enables better connectivity and better speeds, both from a real-time perspective and a time perspective. So we do have an intelligent retail brief that talks about this up on our website, so please go to that. And also connect via LinkedIn. All the people in the audience are on this call, and we'd be happy to answer any kind of questions. And again, thanks so much for your time, and thank you so much, Carlo, for helping us on this. It's a great partnership, that I tend to think will continue to grow and grow, not just in the retail space and other market areas as well.